Hello, everyone. Namaste. Welcome to STEAM Cup Podcast, a show of AainaTrons powered by Aaina the Careers. This podcast will take you through a thrilling journey of the exciting world of science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. I'm your host, Collince Baraza, and I'm glad to be your today's educational adventure. On this podcast, we'll be diving deep into the exciting world of innovations and creative intersections that is making STEAM the dynamic force that is currently shaping the world. And to help us with that is Miss Beata Emily Matasane. Miss Emily is a Mandela Washington Fellow, a qualified sign language interpreter, inclusion enthusiast, sign language consultant, and at all, a businesswoman. What a whole package in one person. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Namaste, Jindal. Bon après-midi to those that is in the afternoon right now. And as you have said, my name is Beata Emily Matasane. Thank you very much for having me.
We are glad to have you here also today. And to our listeners, buckle up, grab your favorite snacks, and get comfortable because, as I've said, we are having a powerhouse guest, a true champion of inclusivity. So prepare to be inspired and as we unravel her story. Whether you are commuting, whether you are cooking, or just chilling, okay? Welcome to an episode packed with wisdom, inspiration, and maybe a surprise. Who knows? The only way in which you'll be able to know is when you stay with us to the end of the show. So let's dive in. Ma'am, how are you? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good to be frank because I've been with the whole team and you have made me feel at home and I am now relaxed. Unlike before, I was kind of scared or nervous, I would say. But right now, trust me, I'm at home. Thank you.
Wow, I'm also feeling great, and I'm glad to have you here as my guest today. And Mama, I got a chance to go through your profile. I got a chance to go through your CV, and personally, I can say that I know you and I know what you do. But for the sake of our guests who are not sure who you are, kindly please tell us who is Miss Emily?
Okay, thank you very much. Miss Emily is a very young Mosotho girl who is currently living in Scotland as a Shipman Scholar, as you have said, a 2023-2024 Shipman Scholar. And I'm currently studying my Master's in Inclusive Education, Research Policy and Practice. And also, I am also somebody who has a sign language interpreting qualification from the University of Free State in South Africa. And also, what I would say I'm a disability advocate, in short, just to say that. And as you have said, I am also a Mandela Washington alumni. And I'm somebody who really loves learning. And as you have heard, I said I've learned a new word, which is namaste. And I would call myself also a linguist in the making because I love languages. And also, yeah, that's it.
Wow. You see, our listeners, today we are having someone who has a diverse experience. And with that experience, it means that we are going to learn a lot from her today. So now that all of us know you, I know you, our listener knows you. Now let's dive in. So, ma'am, can you share with us what initially sparked your interest in inclusive education and advocacy for people with the different impairment? What is it that influenced your commitment to promoting inclusion and diversity in the community and the society in general?
Okay, thank you very much for that beautiful question, sir. I would say I was intrigued by quite a number of things, but most importantly, or one thing that I forgot to say, I am a teacher also by profession. I have two professions, a teaching profession and also sign language interpreting. So those two professions really work very well. So one thing that intrigued me, which is the top thing, what because of the inequalities that I see them in the whole world, not just in developing countries, which is where I'm from Lesotho. So I love seeing all people being included, especially in the education sector. Why so in the education sector? Not just because it's where I'm invested in, but because I feel like when somebody really, really has education, whether it be formal or informal, it means that he or she has everything. Like he has gold or silver, he has all this treasure in their own hands. So I just wanted to ensure that with the little that I could have, with the knowledge, with the brain, with everything, and with the connection or with the collaboration that I could do, I would love to ensure that there is inclusivity. And I would like to share with you and the viewers that at first I was just focused on the deaf inclusion because that is where I have a lot of experience. But now, because of this course and because of the programs and because of having this thirst or hunger of learning each and every day, I was like, no, I am still not being an inclusive advocate. Instead, I'm just focusing on one angle, which is the deaf people, for the deaf people. So, what do I need to do in order to ensure that almost everyone here is included in the society? So, it's like I need to keep learning more and more about different categories of people. So, in a nutshell, I'll just say I was intrigued by seeing inequalities that are there in our societies, and I wanted to be part of the change that promotes equality in order to ensure that we do what we achieve the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, which is for promoting inclusive, equitable education for each and everyone.
Wow. You see, you've mentioned the SDG goals, okay, the Sustainable Development Goals, and you've intrigued me because it is so good that you found it in yourself to capture that aspect of inclusion, and I believe that what drove you towards that direction can also help someone outside who also have a skill somewhere and can also help people just like you do. So, ma'am, that's a great thing you are doing, and I will encourage you to continue doing it. So, ma'am, as I was saying earlier, in AainaTrons, we do offer STEAM education. And when I talk about STEAM, it simply means science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And as in your day-to-day life, I'm very sure that in one way or the other, you've interacted with these aspects, either science, technology, engineering, arts, or mathematics. In one way or the other, you've interacted with one of. So, with your background in sign language interpreting and educational management, how do you think STEAM education can be integrated in inclusive classrooms? You see, currently, that's what you are doing. And my question to you is just how can we include STEAM education in an inclusive class?
I believe that there are quite a number of things that we could do, but I'm just going to mention the ones that I feel like are top. Firstly, I would say the word inclusion itself is such so broad, and I wouldn't say up to date there is a country that could fully stand here and say, yes, we have mastered this art of inclusion. However, there are so many countries, whether developed or still developing, that are really taking numerous steps or numerous actions to ensure that there's inclusion. So, to answer your question, I would say that the first general step that could be taken would probably be to ensure that students, not even just students, but everyone, like they are given reasonable accommodation. What do I mean by reasonable accommodation? I mean that if I am a student, as an individual as I am, I should not be compared with any other student. Instead, I should be seen as an individual as I am, and knowing that it means that I have my own what educational needs or my own personal needs, of which are going to be different from person B. So, offering reasonable accommodation will do what will assist or will ensure that this goal that we're talking about is really achieved. For instance, if I say I am a person, I don't want to say a student as such because I feel like STEM is so big, as he has said, and because I don't want to focus on formal education only, also in informal education. If ever we know very well that okay, I am somebody who has hearing loss. When I talk about hearing loss, I talk about people that have lost their hearing completely or people that still have their hearing but partially. Still, those people fall under the same family. But when we address their needs, it's going to be different. One is going to need reasonable accommodation of maybe a hearing aid. I'm sure you or the team and the viewers would agree that somehow we have seen somebody with hearing aids, not just the aged people, but I'm talking about almost everyone. Why so? Because they kind of like try to assist with the hearing. So I believe that knowing who we are serving is the best thing that we could obviously do. And also, there's this other thing of, maybe let me just make an example. Let's say we are on television and then we are talking as we are talking right now. We are already promoting inclusion inside the STEM. Why so? Because we are advocating for the rights of people with disabilities, and we are also educating people about the STEM, but particularly in the arts sector. So there are those people that would be like, okay, it's true we come from different cultures, so English has kind of like brought us together. We're already heading there. One other thing that could probably be done is the subtitles for people who are like, okay, maybe I cannot really understand Miss Matasane's accent or the way that she's talking. Okay, subtitles will do what, will assist me. And then someone will say, no, but they don't assist me. What should I do? We're talking of a provision of a sign language interpreter, and a sign language interpreter in their own country, because sign language is not a universal language. So I feel like, in a nutshell, knowing who your audience is, if you are a teacher, knowing your people, if you are not a teacher or anybody else, but knowing who your people are and then offering reasonable accommodation, that would be the best thing universally. Yeah.
Wow. You see, Mom, you've talked about the issue of subtitle, and I think that's one of the best way. You see, us who can hear properly, when you're watching a movie or a series, we want to enjoy it. But at the same time, those people are having hearing impairment. They also have the right to enjoy the movie. And I'm glad that you talked about the subtitle thing. But, Mom, do you think there is more that can be done other than subtitles for the entertainment part?
Yes, I believe there is more that could be done other than that. For instance, I was having a conversation with one of the people last year about the same topic of in the entertainment industry. Was like, people in the entertainment industry are really losing. Why so? Because a small thing of choosing a place, we have to make sure that when you choose a place as an entertainer or as anybody else, that place is accessible to everyone. I'm talking of people who are using wheelchairs. Are there ramps there? If there are no ramps, what kind of modifications are done to ensure that there is some accessibility right there? And I feel like it's not everyone who is even able to like see that, oh my god, I'm losing on this one, maybe let me just try to adjust this way, or maybe there are some adjustments that need to be done generally. So I would answer it that way.
Wow. Thank you for that clarification. And I also believe so. I believe I share the same sentiment with you. There is much that should be done to ensure that if it is enjoyment in the entertainment, everyone gets to enjoy, both the people having people who are having hearing impairment and those who are not. So thanks for that clarification.
Thank you. And I have something to add, please. Can I please add? I
Okay.
just remembered there now. Thank you very much. And also, as a teacher, what I've seen is mostly our curriculum is not flexible enough to address, or to, yes, to address each and every learner's needs. For instance, there are those learners that know very well that I can respond verbally, but when it comes to writing, due to some certain special needs that I do have, I cannot do that. So what could be done would be having someone who is trusted to do what, to write on my behalf while I verbally say that. Maybe let me say we're having an examination. What I should do is be given a special room whereby I could have this person who will assist me to write whatever thing that I'm saying. And also, other accommodation that could be done is what, offering additional time. Let me say we have an examination for students that is supposed to take an hour. I'm just making an example. So we know that as students we have different needs, like I said. So I cannot expect each and everyone to be done by that time. Instead, if there are those that could go beyond that time, they should be given that time. Why so? Because we are different. So yeah.
Thank you for adding on that. Indeed, it is something that needs to be noted. So, Mom, as I was going through your LinkedIn profile, I noticed that you've been making videos enlightening your audience on how to go around the chevening scholarship interviews. In fact, I had a glimpse of one of your videos, and I just saw that you are doing a great job. I have to admit that. In fact, if I was one of the applicants, I would have jumped on that video and watched it towards the end so that I can be able also to know how to go around it. Ma'am, would you mind telling us more about this and what is it that made you go down this path? Not most people will find it so easy to teach people, give people such content. Why did you choose to do this?
Thank you very much. It's because naturally I'm somebody who just loves giving. It doesn't mean that I have to give money to ensure. So I love sharing. Like if there's one thing that I love is love sharing. Why so? Because I feel like we have greatest potential. Everyone has potential. It's just that some people are unable to see the potential that they have, and sometimes because of certain challenges, they kind of force people to be in a certain place, in a dark place. So I would say. So I just loved sharing. And as you have mentioned about the YouTube channel, it started a while ago when I was like, because I was like, no, there are a lot of television channels, there are a lot of YouTube channels, but I haven't seen a channel that advocates for rights of persons with hearing impairment. Because then I was just focused on hearing impairment. So at first, what I did was okay. I will be offering some videos about scholarships that are there. Even before I knew that I could get this scholarship of a Shimley scholarship, which is one of the most competitive scholarships around the whole globe. So I was like, okay, let me film some videos, of which these videos are going to be shared across my YouTube channel and in the whole world. And also because of that, I wanted to make sure that people with disabilities, especially in my country, get those kind of scholarships, because as we maybe might have seen, or maybe it hasn't come to our consideration, people with disabilities that work white collar jobs, or those that are highly qualified with big certificates, they are really countable. There are very few of them. So I was like, no, I want to give out this information. And that is where I was verbally talking and also signing at the same time in my videos. But now I stopped. And why so? Because it was a learning process. I saw that my audience was really coming from countries like America and other countries that were not Lesotho. So because sign language is not universal, so I was like, okay, there's no use of me doing the sign language interpreting, also incorporating the sign language interpreting in this video, unless it's another specific video that targets people from Lesotho. Because this is just going to benefit people from Lesotho. So because I don't want it to just benefit people from Lesotho, I want it to be broad. Then I was like, okay, let me just keep changing on doing that. So I would say yes, it's because I wanted to share a lot of information with people so that we could feel okay. I am where I am. I believe that I'm where I am because of a lot of people's contributions, and also because of the challenges of which one do I encounter such challenges. When they keep learning, we're not going to stop learning. And for a good for one to say I have learned is for you to have experienced numerous challenges, and of which I would kind of like not view them as challenges as such, but as lessons. I take them as lessons. Yeah.
Wow. You say, Ma'am, how you deliver it, how the tone in which you are saying it, and I feel like I'm being encouraged, and I believe our listeners are also being encouraged hearing you how you are saying it, because it's so hard. Usually, it's so hard to get someone volunteering and giving out content as you do, and just as you've noted, I think you are a giver. You are a natural giver, and how I wish everyone will emulate such type of philosophy so that people can help each other and everything can be fine. And ma'am, being that we are celebrating Women's Week, I think you are an inspiration. You are an inspiration to most women. And from me, I would like to tell you Happy Women's Week, ma'am. and continue with the same heart, continue with the same vision of helping more and more people. I believe just from your YouTube videos, I believe a number of people have gotten a chance to maneuver around the interviews and be picked as one of the candidates. So continue doing the great job, mom.
Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate, and I don't know if it's coincidental or what. I wasn't even aware. I'm sorry to say, I wasn't even aware that it was International Women's Week. But because of the communications that we had, and also because of this other organization, the Shipning Scholarship, FCDO, they also approached me to do almost the similar thing. So it's like, okay, which means I'm really doing well. If somebody or people from big countries like you guys and also from UK really see what I'm doing, like it means I need to continue doing what I am doing, and I really appreciate that. This is why I'm like, no, I don't have to stop. I need to continue doing it, and not just because of the women, but for the benefit of everyone. I highly appreciate that, Steph.
You are doing great because you see, there is a student who is coming perhaps from a remote area who doesn't have anyone they can look up to tell them how to maneuver around. But since they have internet, since they have bundles, they can go to YouTube and check up your videos and get the full scene on what they're supposed to do. So, ma'am, that's a good job. Continue with the same spirit. And for our listeners who are joining us right now, the sweet talk that you are getting, the great content that you are getting is coming from one of our powerhouse guests today, Miss Emily Matasane, a qualified sign language interpreter, an inclusion enthusiast, a sign language consultant, and a businesswoman. In fact, I cannot get over it. The content, the package is well managed. And we really appreciate you, ma'am, for joining us today. Personally, I'm thrilled to be hosting you today. You see, when I heard that I was going to host you, I was happy because getting someone to share certain sentiments to encourage the people, someone who cares for the less fortunate in the society, is a good spirit. And to our listeners, don't leave your seat. Continue filling your popcorns. Be here and be here until the end so that you can get the full content of the show. So, ma'am, technology is a very important element in today's world, and I'm sure that even right now, what we are using is technology. We are able to talk from different countries and get each other appropriately. And as in AainaTrons, we do appreciate that by offering technological courses to children so that we can equip them with technical skills, and at the same time, we can improve their problem solving abilities as they grow. Ma'am, as a Washington Fellow and Achieving Scholar, you've had an opportunity to meet several leaders. In fact, I'm very sure that you've engaged with a lot of leaders and experts.
Sure.
Yeah. How has exposure to technology influenced your advocacy work for inclusivity? Do you think that technology is somehow helping you to achieve this goal of yours in one way or the other?
Thank you very much for the wonderful question once again. Like it has helped me. Like I don't even know what to say. I wish I had a big word or a word that could make me that could make me say it, and then everyone could understand the level of assistance it has given me. Where I am, as a Shivman scholar and also as a Mandela Washington alumni, I believe that I'm here because of technology. What we're doing, like you said, is because of technology. I wouldn't have known you or the team if it wasn't of technology, and we wouldn't even be able to communicate. And I even wished that I was able to take my years back so that I could be a child and then learn some of the programs that you guys do offer. I would really like to um, applaud you and the team for the good work that you're doing. Like those kids are really going to be the best leaders, better than myself. Oh, because I'm still learning right now. But like the world is really changing right now to technology and everything. So why am I saying I'm here because of technology? Or I would say a greater portion of me is because of technology. As you have mentioned earlier, because of the YouTube channel, this was one of the things that I did state when I was going for interviews, both Mandela Washington Alum Fellowship and then also the Shivman Fellowship, because it's more about, okay, so what have you done in the past that we could say, okay, this is what she has done, of which is very kind of like peculiar. So I was even able to mention, I know for a fact that there was no one who had a YouTube channel in my country. Mostly because YouTube in a developing country like Lesotho does not reward at all. Unlike when one is in a developing country, people do get paid for that content. But because I had that YouTube channel, of which it was of a different niche, that was one of the things that really made me who I am, like to stand out of all the other competitors that were there. And I've met quite a number of people. I'm still meeting them, and I know very well that I'm still going to meet the other ones. Just making another example, I couldn't have known this university that I am right now if it wasn't of technology, because I could be in Lesotho like not knowing at all. But because of technology, I was able to search through, to browse through the internet, and then check all the schools that the universities that I would love to attend, and see the kind of courses they offer, and also see how they teach, because there are some clips and videos, and then say, okay, I opt for this school as opposed to school A or B. Why? Because of technology. And really, technology has played a pivotal role in my career, and it is of course still going to play a pivotal role. And also, one other thing that I would love to mention, in my career as a sign language interpreter, I've also worked at the national at the Lesotho television, which is the only television in my country. So I used to volunteer interpreting to the people with hearing loss. Why so? Because I felt like they also needed to be part of what is said. I couldn't volunteer into the entire programs, but I was like, because everyone needs to be updated, needs to know what is happening around the globe. Then I gave my time, or I devoted my time in news bulletin interpreting, and that on its own was a good initiative. Why am I saying it? Because it is still somewhat incorporation of technology, and bringing back of what giving out to the community and giving that information. And I believe that if you have knowledge, you have everything. You can conquer anything. You can conquer anything. We don't even need to have money. If you have knowledge, you're able to build skills. If you have skills, you're able to have money. So yeah.
Uh, they do say that information is power, and as the world is going by, the person, for you to be in a position of power, you'll have to control information. Anyone with information has the right power. And ma'am, thank you for the great insight. For our listeners who are listening to us today, I hope you've heard how technology has played a great role in Beata Emily Matasane's career. And for parents who are out there who have not yet enrolled their children to STEAM education, please, it's a high time you do so. And if you're not sure how to go about it, come on, we are here for you. The AainaTrons, the Aina career, we are here for you. Just go to Google www.ainacareers.com, and you'll get to learn more about what we do in AainaTrons and what we do by offering technological courses. For children, we do offer things like ethical hacking, web development, MIT app development. You see, when your child is equipped in such a way, their growth will be so much modeled up. And ma'am, by the way, as you are talking, I came to learn something. You see, being someone who have interacted with the people who have hearing impairment, okay, and you know what exactly they do need. Ma'am, let's say that you had the powers to innovate an app. You had the powers to innovate anything that can help them. Just for the sake of innovators listening out there, what can you tell them to create technological wise that can help these people?
Okay, thank you very much. I don't know if maybe you are a prophet or something like that, but one of my projects or incoming projects, of which when time goes by, I know very well that I'll collaborate with someone or some other people. I would love to have this application. I don't know the name, but maybe I should just explain it. An application whereby anyone, anywhere, if he or she meets a person with hearing loss, he is able to communicate with that person. More like even a dictionary. If you want to search for a certain word, then you can be able to do that. Why am I doing this?
Wow.
Oh, why am I even saying this? Because if we can take an example, there are a lot of doctors in hospitals, social
Yeah.
workers, or whatnot, but we have not seen interpreters in, let me even say specifically like sign language interpreters in those areas. Does this mean that people with hearing loss do not need access to those services? No, it doesn't mean so. Let me say maybe I'm a person with hearing loss, then I need to go and deposit my money at the bank. Unfortunately, I do not know any other language but sign language. I'm just making an example. Then a teller or anybody else who's going to communicate with me, there will be communication barrier. So does it mean that because there is communication barrier, I don't have to deposit my money? No, obviously not. So having that application, everyone is on their phone. Like everyone, if we could just go outside and just keep quiet, just to throw our eyes anywhere, we would see youth, all people, like everyone on their phone or on their laptop, which means that technology plays such a pivotal role in our lives. So I would first try to design that application. And I know there are a lot of people who love trying beautiful ideas, who would love to also do that. It could help them and help the community around them. Like if I had powers right now, I would develop that app right now, and not just in my country. No, because I don't want to see that change in my country alone, but in the whole world, like having those kind of applications. It's not there yet in my country, and it's something that I really want to do. So yeah.
You know, mom, they do say that for you to be an innovator, you just don't, it is not a must that you have to create something, but you need to have the idea of creating something. That was perfect pitching. And if I were someone who is an investor and you were pitching that idea to me, I would have took it. I would have started searching for someone who can develop that app and be done with it within a month or 3 weeks. Because you know, when you are saying that when you go to the bank and you don't find someone, I even witnessed that thing over here. You see, and you mentioning that triggered my mind. Like, sure, I usually don't see those people being catered for. You go to a bank, perhaps you are a French speaker, you'll find someone to translate for you in English. But you go there, you can't hear, no one to help you. And ma'am, that your idea. I hope that soon it gets someone to bring it to reality. That was good, ma'am.
Thank you very much. So don't worry, maybe next time you'll be an investor and I'll still have the idea. Then we work together and
That's great. And to our listeners, I hope you are enjoying the show and I hope you are getting how we are having a guest who is not only the things that I mentioned, but a guest who is clever, someone who is innovative. And I believe you will go far with such ideas and you will impact so many lives, ma'am.
thank you.
And just on the same note, we were talking about someone translating, doing. You see, ma'am, that is communication, okay? And communication is a very important art in our lives. In fact, without communication, we can't get each other. Right now, we are communicating. And if at all I'm using a wrong language, wrong style, or wrong tone, you won't even get me. So that means that communication is very important and it determines how we interact with people. Okay. In fact, what we do entirely in our lives is just communication everywhere. So, ma'am, my question to you is now, with your proficiency in multiple sign languages and experience in translation, how do you navigate linguistic and cultural differences to ensure that effective communication and understanding occurs?
Okay, so thank you very much for that. The good example is right now that is happening right now. I'm sure you have your mother tongue language, and then I also do have my mother tongue language, and so is the other members of the team. So if each and every one of us could communicate in our mother tongue languages, we couldn't be able to understand each other effectively, and that means that communication was not going to be able to occur very well. So answering your question, I feel like there are numerous things that I do, but like right now, we communicating in a universal language that could like that does what that brings us together in to ensure that we do what we understand one another. And then also, if I am around people with hearing loss, I only communicate with what is the sign language only. But if I'm around people with hearing loss and people with without hearing loss, that is when I will ensure that I do both communications, either talking at the same time and then interpreting, or interpreting, finish, and then talk at the same time, or ask for assistance from somebody else. Like right now, if I'm saying I'm talking and then somebody else is communicating. So yeah, that's just how I go around with it.
Yeah, sure. You are taking a right path, ma'am. I just have a simple question tied to that. Let's assume that you are in a classroom that is serving a French student and a Spanish student. All of them don't know are having hearing impairment. Okay, and perhaps you want to translate this thing to someone who also speaking a different language. Okay, in such a case, how do you approach such a situation, or what plans have you put in place to ensure that as you go international, you also address such barriers?
Okay, thank you very much. Just something to state, of which I know some people do not know much about it. Let me say I'm going internationally. I cannot say I know British Sign Language, for instance. I don't even know American Sign Language. I know a very few signs in American Sign Language and very, 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 very little in British Sign Language. But I know a lot in Lesotho Sign Language and I know a lot in South African Sign Language. Why? So because I have been exposed to communicating with them. So coming back to what you were saying, the first thing as a teacher would be a background check. Background check. Okay, this student, how like how what is the level of language competence, and then also this other one. Okay, and then after that, probably communicating with my headmaster to ensure that we bring an interpreter that will do what, an interpreter that will work with both students. If ever, like you said, the two students are from different countries, it means that they will be communicating two different sign languages. So it means they will be in two different classes, and it means they will need two different interpreters. So offering that reasonable accommodation, or which I talked about earlier, would be one of the things. So if I'm an international speaker or I'm invited internationally, I don't know the kind of sign language that is spoken. Now I have to talk with the people that I'm working with to ensure that, guys, can you please go find somebody who knows the language that is used in your country, not just that language, but also the other language. It's so much easier, even very much relatable when we do things in our language. And also coming back a little bit in the other question that you said, like how can we incorporate inclusion in this STEAM education? One of the things that I'm sorry for going back and forth that I do remember right now was incorporating language. If I am taught in my mother tongue language, I am able to understand something, unlike when I'm taught that foreign thing in a language that I do not understand. I'm able to even like have my own imagery, like, okay, what the teacher is talking about is this, because she relates so much to me because of using my own personal language.
Yes, that's true. Your insights are correct. And ma'am, do you know the reason why I asked that question? Because I felt that you were telling me some of your how you include everyone to make sure that they're catered for, those who are impaired. And I wanted to ask you, what are the steps you envision to achieving the long-term goal? But you've answered me appropriately, and you've answered that question by telling me the plans that you have to ensure that everything is okay in long term. And I believe that I'm learning, and even people who are in the same field with you are going to get more and more knowledge on how to navigate this field of helping people. And thank you so much, ma'am, for giving the points in a better way, giving example, and illustrating it so much it can be easy for us to understand. And for those who are joining us now, this is Timka Podcast, and we are having a guest who I even lack the words right now to praise her. She's doing so much good in her field. She is helping a lot of people. She's an humanitarian. I just hope one day you get to win a Nobel Prize, ma'am, because the knowledge you are giving, how you are giving it, how you are delivering it, it's superb. And I have to say that. So, guys, we are having Miss Beata Emily Matasane. She's a qualified sign language interpreter, including she's also an inclusion enthusiast and sign language consultant and a businesswoman. Ma'am, I've tackled almost every part of interpretation and inclusion. What about being a businesswoman? What do you
Okay.
do? How do you do it? And uh, how are you balancing all these things, okay, to ensure that at the end of the day you achieve everything that you're doing?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me just start first by saying it's not something that is very much easy, but I have numerous businesses, but of which some of them are on hold because business needs what I've learned. I had even to learn it the hard way. That was in 2022. I had
Yeah, sure.
yeah, I had a physical boutique. And then it was when I was in the US as a Mandela Washington Fellow. So I had somebody to run it on my behalf. I wouldn't say she was really doing a marvelous job, but unfortunately business needs the owner to keep on checking on it each and every now and then. So I was like, okay, let me put this on hold because now I am no longer there. But I'm still having the other business with someone whom I partnered with back home and it still continues because we are able to communicate or it doesn't need me to do what to continue with it that much. But this one of the sign language interpreting consultants is the one that I'm still even doing right now. I will have some other people who would request to me about how do we go about this certain thing and then probably give out some codes or something like that. There are some parents who email me on social media, like, or who DM me on social media, like, okay, my child is doing sign language basics. Maybe she's in grade 3, grade 4, and they're given an assignment. Now I don't know how to assist this child. Can you please assist me? I'm like, I don't have a problem, but now are you able to pay the price? And they'll be like, no, we don't have a problem. And something something like that, and of which in my country it's not something that is done by a lot of people, or it's not even done like everybody does his or her own thing, or let me say it's yes, it's not even done in a universal way, yeah, so to say. So yeah.
Okay, I get you. And when you speak of money, when it comes to money, someone would rather receive a service but don't pay for it. Okay, ma'am, you've talked about the business of sign language interpretation, and I was just like, you talked about 2022, and as you are saying that, something that's popped up in my mind, 2020, 2021, the Corona period. It was so devastating during that time. And I just want to know, and I believe also our listeners want to know, how are you navigating? Because during Corona you were not supposed to meet, meaning that it was difficult to go there and do interpretation in a real physically. How are you going about it? Okay, how are you doing it so that your business doesn't fail? Because as much as I can say and as what I can see, your business didn't fail. How did you do it?
So what happened is I had to pause the business, the boutique then. Why? So because now there was even no more transportation between the borders. I was buying some of my clothes from South Africa, so it was kind of like challenging to transport or even communicate with people that assist me in buying it. So I just had to stop, but to continue with the other businesses of the day. And the other businesses of the day, then I was still working as an interpreter at the National University of Lesotho, whom then I was the first interpreter to produce the first ever hard of hearing student to complete a degree in the whole world, and of which I'm really proud of her
Wow.
and the school and myself also for that, because there's never been something like that. So it was really challenging, like it was really, really challenging because I take that as a business that I was doing. If I was giving out my skills, my time, and everything to ensure that I'm interpreting for that student, and I take it as a what as a business, because I was still what a consultant, but of which it wasn't in a developed way. Like the whole consultancy thing, I developed the I developed it in a good way when in 2022, yeah, late 2022, yeah. So it was really challenging for me to communicate with her because I remember the schools were closed, but now technology, like we have said, we were communicating with the lectures via Zoom and other social media platforms. So for her, it was kind of difficult because of the location, also because of other things. So it forced me and her to move from where we were, that is from our homes, to get back to school, and then we were offered that chance to like at least interact, just the two of us. So which means we were both putting our lives at risk. Why? Because it was COVID and everybody was home, including the lecturers, but we had to be together while I interpret to her. Like it was a lot. Like it was a lot.
Wow. You see, ma'am, and that is why what I like in you. You don't care of the risks. You don't care of what comes by. So long as you help, that's your main goal. And you see, some things I don't know. They just happen by coincidence or what. But you are the perfect guest for a Women's Week, because other than just the inclusion part, the diversity part, you are a businesswoman. And you went. The reason why I asked about Corona period is because most businesses died during that period. People faced a lot of challenges, and you came through it. You came through it, and you are still here today. And I feel like you are a motivation to most women. You are someone who inspires most women. And to our listeners, ladies, women, happy Women's Week to you. And today we have someone here who I think you should just imitate her footsteps. Make sure that every day you visit her YouTube channel, get to learn from her. Because, ma'am, when you were saying that you were able to go through it, meander through it until you came out of COVID, I was like, you are a strong woman. You are a strong lady. And I believe that whatever thing you are doing, you are going far with it. Personally, even though I'm a man, I feel that you have motivated me. You have motivated me. That was great. COVID was hard for many people, and you went through it successfully. So, ma'am, that was great, and continue with the same spirit.
Thank you.
Wow. You see, I didn't imagine that this one was going to be so much of a learning session and inspiring session. And mom, you have made it to come to a reality. I'm enjoying the show. So there is something that I've wanted to ask. You see, mom, not everything is easy, and that is why I brought the question of COVID-19 at first. We have a lot of challenges. Coming up with something is not easy, and making sure that it is running is not easy. Other than the people who are fighting you beside them, we usually call them the devils who don't want you to succeed. Okay? We have those natural challenges which come in. And I wanted to ask you this. What are some of the common challenges, okay, that you faced in advocating on inclusive education, particularly in the context of the mainstream schools? And uh, what are some of the strategies that as a person you've developed, okay, a defense mechanism to fight those challenges and go through them and make it success?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. And what you're saying is really true. Like, we can never do something without getting challenged. And this is one of the things that I usually tell myself. If I find myself like going a whole 30 days without having any challenge, I'm like, no, this means that I'm not doing enough or I'm not doing nothing. Because for one to really feel like they are doing something, they need to be challenged in life so that you
Yeah.
learn, or you get a lesson. Yes, of course, you get a lesson out of that. So there are numerous challenges that I did meet in the past, like very very many. For instance, I'll talk about less pay in my country, or let me say in the developed countries. Incorporation of sign language interpreting is something that is really not done. For it to be done, you have to fully convince people that this is going to be beneficial for the students, or it's going to be beneficial for these people. So just doing that on its own, it's not easy at all. And the like we are not being paid enough, what amount of money that we really ought to be paid at all, because people are just like, okay, we don't know which category do we have to classify you. They don't understand, sorry, sign language interpreting as its own profession, like just like that. For instance, the other example that I would like to give in my country, for those who do not know Lesotho, Lesotho has about 2.2 million people right now, and we are divided or we are partitioned into 10 districts. So up until today, we just have only one mainstream high school, and then we have about 4 or 5 primary high schools. Those that do say they cater for the needs of children with hearing loss. So, which means that if ever I am somebody from a certain district and I want to transition from primary school to the high school, I have to move from my home to this other school, this high school. So, as an interpreter, there are going to be a lot of students in that class, and you are just one interpreter, and you work over hours. I'm not sure if it's done so in the other countries, but in my country, it happens that an interpreter works from in the morning up until in the afternoon when the schools knock out. And this causes a lot of burnout. Also, you cannot function properly without resting at all. It doesn't happen. And interpreting is so challenging. For one to be an effective interpreter, they need to interpret at least 30 minutes, and then you change with the other interpreter. So you can imagine if you are interpreting from in the morning up until in the afternoon, the kind of stress, the kind of fatigue that is happening. Also, the brain does not function well, and you just being alone in front of numerous people, it's not easy for you to even fully express yourself or even attend to each and every student's needs. This is why I still have numerous projects that I want to make sure that, you know what, I want to make sure that there are a lot of interpreters around such that we keep on changing. And the other challenge is when I wanted to do my postgraduate degree in sign language interpreting, it was very much challenging. I wanted to do it in Lesotho sign language interpreting, but because as interpreters, it's not, as Lesotho sign language interpreters, it's not something that is known that much. People just finish at certificate level and then it's fine. So I had to go to the neighboring country, which is South Africa, which means that I wasn't learning South African sign, I wasn't learning Lesotho sign language, rather South African sign language, which is a challenge because these are two different languages and each language has its own rules and grammatical whatnot. But now it means that I'm learning language of another country, but then I have to bring back what I've been taught to contextualize it into my country. That on its own is also a challenge. And also a challenge that I also met was there's this other time last year, but one when I was called by this other political party to interpret for them. So because I am a teacher, I had a tough time then. They were like, okay, we would like you to give your interpreting services to us. I was really skeptical about it. I asked for advices from my mentors because I was like, as a teacher, you don't have to be seen in politics at all.
Yeah,
But
sure.
this is but this is something that I always wanted, which is inclusion. If let me say what a leader of that political party is presenting his or her manifesto, then he or she is just verbally saying it. It means there's a gap that those that would love to have that manifesto from the deaf community, they're not going to access that. So I can only be there to assist. Then I had to think a lot, to debate a lot after a lot of pleading and whatnot. They were like, no, it doesn't mean that you giving us what your services would be that you are politically engaged in this thing. So this is one of the challenges that I do encounter and that we do encounter each and every now and then. But the important one is the pay. So yeah.
I know. Anytime, whenever it touches on the pay, everyone is always somehow dancing and somehow celebrating because anything involving money is good.
Yeah.
Ma'am, and I understand the challenges you are going through, and I just have to tell you this: you are braver than you believe, you are
Yes.
stronger than you seem, and at most, you are smarter than you think, ma'am. So don't
Yeah.
worry, you'll go through it. And as one of the famous philosophers once said that challenges are gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. So don't fight them. Just find a new way to stand. And once you stand, you will finish all of them. you will win the war. So I believe in you, ma'am, and I believe in the work you are doing, and you gear on. Don't worry about the challenges that are there. You will reach some at a certain level whereby now you will be okay. About the money and the pay, don't worry. A time will come when you'll be contracted with very rich people to offer that service. And as you've said, it has always been said, everything for it to be a success, there must be challenges. So keep pushing. You will reach there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you will reach there. Thank you, ma'am, for that. And I believe that our listeners, you are getting each and every word that she's saying. You are getting everything that she's putting across. This is someone who is experienced in a diverse field, in inclusion. And when it comes to inclusion, is something which is very important to everyone. And I believe that she's being a motivation person to you wherever you are in your place. So just sit tight. We are having a great show, and I believe we are all enjoying. Continue learning, and I want to thank our guest once more. You are putting your points in a clear way that all of us can understand. Thank you, and I hope you continue doing that to us until we reach the end of the show. So, ma'am, uh, by the way, to our listeners, our audiences, if you have any question, please feel free to pop them. We'll ask her here. She's here. And one thing that I won't allow her to do, she won't leave until you squeeze everything, every content that she came with. Don't allow her to go with any juice in her. Okay? She's someone whom we can learn from. So send your questions and we'll post it to her. And as they're doing that, ma'am, based on what you are doing, uh, that is ranging from being a sign language interpreter to a businesswoman. Okay, uh, I can confidently say that you have integrated STEAM in all aspects of your life, and you being here today and sharing with us your journey, which by the way it's so motivating. I'm sure that listeners who are there are so many listeners right now who are looking forward to be in your shoe. And personally, I'm looking forward to be in your shoe because I share the same sentiment with you. I like helping people. That motivating factor of always uh, hearing someone say thank you, hearing someone say I'm here because of this person, it really motivates me. Now, for those listeners looking forward to imitate your footsteps and are not yet sure those team programs, like the ones we do offer here in AainaTrons, are important to them. What advice would you offer to such listeners, and what will you tell them to do based on your own experience, ma'am?
Okay, please come again.
I was saying that, ma'am, you have a wide range of experience. That is from sign language interpreter to a businesswoman, okay? And with that, in one way or the other, you've integrated STEAM in your life, in what you do, okay? And
Yes.
being that you've been in this show since the beginning up to now, there are a lot of people who right now want to follow your footsteps, ma'am. And personally, I would also like to do so because I also like helping people. Now, for listeners who are not sure whether or not they should take STEAM programs like the one we do offer here in AainaTrons, what can you tell them? What advice do you have for them?
Okay, so thank you very much. The advice I would have to them is for them to take STEM programs, not just because I'm trying to buy the team space. No, it really, really, really helps, especially in the technology department, because as we can see right now, like technology is really taking the world. And if one wants to see themselves as a future leader or as somebody who has developed from point A to point B, obviously the best way that they could do is nothing but other than incorporating this field or this umbrella of the STEAM. Why so? Because it's even able to, apart from it assisting people to get to obtain their goals, but it helps also in having or in giving one sense of purpose. Maybe I'll say that. Yeah, I'll say that sense of purpose, sense of belonging, and also sense of bettering oneself than any other thing. So I would really go for it if I would be them, or if I would have to advise them. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. You've heard from the horse's mouth. Her journey has been helped so much with STEAM education. She has, and she has insisted more on the technological aspect. So, you listeners, don't hesitate. Pursue a STEAM program. You can venture in one. I said that STEAM has a lot of aspects. That is science, technology, arts, blah, blah, blah. And make sure that you find something. If it is arts, for instance, in AainaTrons, we do offer beauty, cosmetics, cooking, survival techniques for children in campsites. You see, these are things which are important. Something like swimming, it is not. You may see that swimming is not important, but a time will come when you'll need it. So I would like to say that you listeners venture in STEAM program and get to learn more so that you may know. Ma'am, you see, you've been talking and I've been getting so much on what you are saying, and you've delved so much in the technological aspect. And you see, uh, our listeners were also listening, and they got you. So one of them have this question, okay? As someone who is deeply involved in inclusive education and advocacy, okay? How do you see AI technologies shaping the future of accessibility and inclusivity in educational strategies, especially for students with diverse learning needs and impairments, like the ones you do cater for, ma? How do you think AI can help them in that?
Okay, so thank you very much. I'm sorry about that disturbance, honestly. I
No.
even have another addition to make on the previous question, which is this time around I'm talking as a lady or as a woman because it's women speak. Like we have a lot of myths that science or technology subjects are only done by men because men are strong and whatnot. And we can even see it practical in some other places, of which is not. It's just, I would say it's a myth or somebody trying to just take a feeble excuse. There's nothing that we cannot do as women or as people. If you have passion in art, go for it. If you have passion in tech, go for it. If you have passion in science, go for it. And the good thing is, I feel like passion is something that one is born with from the young age. And one thing that I would advise the parents is if you are close to your child, know what your child really likes. If you see your child busy like each and every day, as young as he or she is 2 years old, busy stealing your makeup and applying himself or herself, leave him because either way, that shows that that is his or her own passion. And there's also something that I have seen in my experience is that if you don't let children be who they are, that kind of hurts us. I've seen a lot of people, my age mates, maybe you could also concur with that. Like some would say, okay, I didn't want to be a medical doctor. I just wanted to make sure that I'm a medical doctor just to satisfy my parents. But this hasn't been my passion. And then you see that person after completing the medical degree say, I'm not going to continue with this degree. I want to be a tailor or I want to be an artist. And that really causes heartbreak to parents. Why so? Because they failed to adapt that while their children were still very young from back then. So yeah. And please remind me of the other question, please.
Yeah, I'm reminding you, ma'am. And before I do remind you of that question, you've just triggered something in my mind. And I was just like, have you also been, were you also in the previous interviews? Because for listeners, they know very well that there was a certain guest we host. We had her here, and she was like, when she was growing, she was a clever person, okay? People who are genius. And her parents will always tell her that you should take a course in doctorate, do something to do with pharmacy. And she didn't have that passion. She told us that her passion was to do with arts, okay? Uh, Journalism. That's what she wanted. But her parents were insisting, and she refused. And she explained to her parents that this is not what I want. And you see, you explaining that, has really made me understand that uh, it is indeed true that we should allow the children to take their passion. And you've explained exactly how she did it. And To our listeners, two people don't say the same thing. Two people who have never met don't say the same thing coincidentally unless it is true. So take note of that and make sure that if you have a child, just as she has said, when you see your child putting on makeup, come on, she wants to be a beauty therapist or something like that. If you see her dancing, perhaps she wants to be a dancer. If you see her talking to the mirror, that child wants to be an actor or a drama person. Leave her, because we have people who are making millions out of singing, drama, even football. Okay? So, ma'am,
Yeah,
thumbs up for that, and thank you for reminding me of that aspect. So, ma'am, my question that I just asked you was, one of our listeners wanted to know how you are incorporating AI model uh, to enhance inclusivity in educational setting. How are you using an AI, especially for students with diverse learning needs?
okay, so okay. How would I say that? Is just by incorporating technology in it. I'm still in the journey. I won't say I have completed, but I'm still in the journey because I keep learning each and every now and then. And most of the lucky thing
Sure.
is I'm in a developed country, and then I'm even able to see how things are done or how AI has really helped some students. And I would love to take the good ideas that I took, that I've seen or that I'm observing still now of AI back to my country, because it's not a big thing for everyone. But I would
Okay.
say just by incorporation of technology so far, yeah.
Okay, thank you for that response. And to our listeners, I believe we will host her here next time. She won't go away, and she will come back with a lot of goodies in the AI field to make sure that you people get to learn more. So be ready for her next time. Mama, we have really enjoyed having you here today. Personally, I've got to learn a lot of things from you. And our listeners, I believe, have got to learn a lot of things from you. And it will be so bad if I don't admit it myself. There are a lot of things that I read your CV, I read your profile, but there are a lot of things that you've talked to me about, you've said right now in this show that I didn't know. And it has given me that path, that spirit of learning more in people and always engaging them in talking. Mom, you see, uh, we are coming towards the end of this our show, and I'll feel so bad if I don't say this. Okay, uh, as we celebrate Women's Week, uh, you stand as an inspiration to many. You see, balancing a successful career in inclusive education and advancing for its accessibility across all fields, and your own life, your own as a business person, your social life, it's great. And that alone puts you on the top as an inspirer to many women. And as we wrap up this conversation, okay, what message of empowerment and encouragement do you have for women globally, especially those who aspire to make a positive impact, okay, like the one you are creating in the world? What message do you have for them, woman to woman? What do you have to tell them?
Thank you very much. I like it, woman to man, because it's going to be more relatable, unlike when it was men to woman. Anyway, thank you for that wonderful question. Uh, I would just love to say, as women, know that you are capable of anything. The best thing a woman, or yeah, a woman could ever wear is confidence. Don't let anybody tell you that you cannot do anything in this whole world. Anything and everything that you have is really achievable. And you have, if you have any ideas and then you kind of present them to somebody else, and if that person, when you present those beautiful ideas to that person, is like, no, you are insane or something, try to run away from that person. Be able to share your beautiful or innovative ideas with somebody who will always be there for you, support you either emotionally, morally, financially, or whichever way. And apart from knowing that you can do anything, um, know that challenges do exist, but never look at them as challenges. Instead, look or view them as lessons that need to be learned. And don't ever, for those that are who believe in God, don't ever ask God, like, why am I experiencing this challenge? Instead, thank him for giving you that challenge, because through that challenge you're able to learn a lesson. And if ever you are observant enough, you can never do the same mistake that you did. Take those mistakes as something that, okay, these mistakes are really building me. Take them as a blocks that shape your future, and work very hard, collaborate with as much as many people. The idea that you have right now in your head, write it down, try to plan it, how you're going to do it, whom you're going to work with. It. I cannot over explain how vital it is for a woman to work hand in hand with people who are ready to really work. Run away from people that are not ready to work. Run away from people that do not share the same vision as you at all. And what can I say also apart from knowing that the challenges are there? Yeah, if your dreams don't scare you, as they usually say, know that you're not doing something. Your dreams need to scare you. You'll be like, oh my god, did I just think about this? Like, oh, what? And also, if you have any skill that you would want to offer to the people, just offer it. No matter how many people reject you, no matter how many hiccups you meet, one of the good days, there'll be someone who'll be like, oh my goodness, I really appreciate this person. Oh my goodness, I really see the acts and initiatives of this person. As they usually say, hard work pays. Like it really does pay. I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't because of hard work, dedication, tears, sweat, blood, and you name all those things. It's because someone somewhere was really seeing that, you know what, this person is really working, or she or he is really doing something. Like someone from a country called Lesotho. Some people do not know it, but to be seen out of millions of people, just to make an example, there were about 70,000 applicants of the Shivnin Scholars last year when we applied. But out of that 70,000, only 1,200 or 1,300 people made it. And I was one of the six that made it from my country, which means that this was
Wow.
such a
Congratulations.
thank you very much. Which means that this was very, very much competitive. I'm not even talking about Mandela Washington because it was still the same or it was the similar thing, although it was just in the continent of Africa. So regardless of the challenges that you meet as a lady or as a woman, just continue doing them. Nobody can tell you that you cannot do anything, and everything, of course, is there. Use the resources that are there. Socialize, network with people, and yeah. And also, okay, I was talking about the skill. The last one. This is the last one. I promise. The
Yeah,
last
no
one.
problem.
Okay. The last one is if you have skills, give out your skills for free, but for a certain time, know when to say no. There's a lot of times whereby I gave out my time for free and I didn't even feel like, no, I don't have to do this. But because I had a goal, like, you know what, after a certain point, because I will have built my brand, a lot of people would have known me. Then after, I'll be like, no, I'm not going to do this for free. For instance, I've been interpreting in numerous places apart from churches. I do interpret at churches in my church back home for free, and just because I feel like I don't need to charge people for that. But in other places, if somebody tells me that I need your services, I'm just like, okay, this is my code. It's either you give me or you don't give me. So be ready to work hard and give your time for free, but know when to say no. Thank you.
You see, mom, you are really funny. You say that you give me, I give you. Okay, that's the philosophy of the world right now, and I agree with you. That's it. And you see, to the women who are listening, to the ladies who are listening, I think you've got it clearly. As a woman, be confident. Don't allow people to step on you because you are a woman. Be dedicated. Everything has a challenge, and be someone who is ready to go through it. And you see, there is an important thing that you've taught us today, that we'll be ready to give our skills for free just because we want to learn. And the most important thing that you've mentioned in that phrase is, as we are giving it for free, we must be ready to know when to say no. Okay, it is a point
Yeah.
whereby you know you have to distinguish between the two. And I believe, ladies, women, come on, today we've given you the best of the best to motivate you. And personally, I know I'm not a woman, mom, but allow me to pick what you've said. It was it was motivating for all. Personally, allow me to take those concepts, and I believe that I'll incorporate them in my life. To our listeners, sometimes you even don't want a show to end. Sometimes you just want to continue talking and talking and talking and talking so that you can learn more from someone. But, mom, that sometimes that we have to give it a break and allow you to rejuvenate more, allow you to get more content, and so that when you come back next time, you feed us more and more and more. If it were up to me, this show could have gone for 2 hours, 3 hours, because we can talk, 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 and talk. So, ma'am, thank you for being here today. And I would just like you to, do you have any parting short message to us? Anything, final words that you can give us?
Okay, just to say thank you very much for having me. And also, there's a lot that I did learn from you. Each and every day, as a person, I tell myself, okay, I want to learn something new, something that I've never experienced. And there's quite a number of things that I've also learned from you and also the team. And it doesn't mean that it's just a formal thing. No, not at all. And to the listeners, I'll just say, guys, please use the opportunity that you have to learn the courses that they do offer. Trust me, technology drives the whole world. If you're not ready to develop, then say bye to technology. But if you're ready to develop and be a great person, learn the courses that are offered. So I would love to thank you very much for even offering a welcoming environment for me, from you and the whole team. I really highly appreciate. Thank you very much.
Wow. Today's show, let's pick the last word that the last sentences that you just said. Technology drives the world. Guys, you've heard it from her. Technology drives the world. Make sure that you enroll. Make sure that you equip yourself. Take your child to that school that will equip him or her with that knowledge. So that by the time she or he is at Miss Emily's age, that child will be perfect, because I'm very sure Miss Emily wants someone wants to inspire people to be more than her. Okay, that's usually what teachers usually do, and I'm sure you're also doing that.
Yeah, that's true.
So, ma'am, thank you so much for sharing your insights and experiences with us. It has been truly an inspiring journey to hear more about you, and it's the incredible work that you are offering. Personally, you see, I've learned more, and I believe listeners have learned more. So, your journey is inspiring, and thank you for taking your time for joining us today and sharing it with people who even don't know you. Mom, that was great of you, and I'm really, really happy that you've talked about inclusivity and diversity and how they integrate each other with STEAM, and you've appreciated how STEAM is important in our day-to-day lives. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in for STEAM Cup podcast. You've been with us since the show began, and right now the show is going towards an end. Be sure to join us next time for more exciting discussions on the world of STEAM. For you not to miss out on any other thing that we'll be uploading, any other episode that is coming forth, please make sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel.